We are live.
Hey guys. Friday.
We are Sean and Chrissy Michael of the world famous Long Honeymoon blog, coming to you live from world famous Seaside, Florida, at the Airstream court, no less.
Yes, that's right. So if you're watching, please comment, let us know where you're joining us from. We're going to do a little bit of talking tonight about Yellowstone and how to survive.
Yeah, this is the topic that's really been on my mind lately. If you haven't heard, earlier this week, a young man from Portland, Oregon, and his sister went for a stroll in Norris Geyser Basin, and they walked about 225 yards off the boardwalk and fell into a hot spring, or the guy did, and frankly, nobody has been recovered because the body, by this point, has been dissolved by boiling sulfuric acid.
Yeah, that's why you don't leave the boardwalk in Yellowstone. We've talked about this many times. Yellowstone is a great place. It's beautiful. There are amazing things to see there, but it can also be a very dangerous place if you don't follow the rules. And I think that is probably the biggest issue. I think a lot of people don't take the time maybe to read the materials that they give you when you come into the park, or they don't take the time to read the signs. And if you just ignore those warnings, it can be really terrible. So my biggest advice to people is, when you come into the park, they hand you a newspaper, take the newspaper and read it. It has a lot of really helpful tips and a lot of really helpful just basic information on dangers to be aware of, and animals that are active in the park, things that you should do if you see an animal and you're out in the wild, you know, helpful things that will help you survive if you traipse off in any direction while you're there. So that would be my number one bit of advice.
Yeah, I'm reading a book right now. It's called Death in Yellowstone, and I'll put a link to it on our website and on the YouTube page. But the bottom line is, over the years that they've been keeping records, about roughly 20, now 21 people have died due to thermal activity in Yellowstone. So it's not like this is something that happens every year. On the other hand, it's not something that hasn't happened before. It absolutely happens, but in 99% of the cases, the cause has been careless behavior. Careless choices that people have made, where they purposefully leave a boardwalk, walk beyond the signs that are clearly warning danger, or they go hiking in a thermal area at night with no flashlights. And when you're in a place like Yellowstone, one wrong step can get you boiled alive.
Yeah, literally. I think one of the scariest things would be if you are going with small children, because I think you really have to stay right on top of them. And I would just hate for people to have some sort of terrible accident because they weren't holding on to their kids. And that's the thing about those thermal areas in Yellowstone. You are so close to them. You're so on top of them. And all it takes sometimes is 2 or 3 steps to end up in a boiling pot of hot water.
Yeah, Denise Johnson-Craigan says life is all about choices. That's absolutely
exactly
true.
Right.
And, you know, frankly, when I was a teenager, I've made a lot of dumb choices in my life. But when you make dumb choices in Yellowstone, it can really cost you. So
yeah, because you may not die. You may just end up with life-altering injuries.
You may want to be dead.
So, yeah, take the time to read those books that they give you when you come in to the park, and take them seriously, because you're in Mother Nature in a wild environment, and so people get way too close to animals. I mean, you saw last week a lady was charged by an elk. She was standing literally 10 feet from him and trying to take his picture, and it was just, you know, the elk charged her, and she's very lucky she wasn't injured seriously. So, you know, you got to stay, I think it's 25 yards away from buffalo and elk and that sort of thing, 100 yards away from bears. And if you've ever seen a bear charge, you know how fast they can run. So just take it really seriously.
Chris Klein says Yellowstone's a dream trip. We hopefully will make the next few years.
Yes.
It is indeed a dream trip. And I think we see a lot of scary publicity about Yellowstone, but you have to keep in mind there are about 4 million people a year who go through the park. And when you got 4 million people in one area that is that dangerous, some crazy things are going to happen.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we're all a little bit intoxicated, shall we say, by the natural beauty, and not just the beauty, but just the unusual environment of Yellowstone, because you're standing on a supervolcano.
So it's easy to get sort of overwhelmed with what you're seeing and maybe not be paying attention to every step you're taking, or, you know, realizing how close you are to a wild animal, or, you know, maybe the wild animal approaches while you're looking at something else. So it just is an environment where you've got to pay attention and be aware of your surroundings at all times. It's a beautiful place. I highly recommend anybody that ever has a chance to go. You'll never see anything else like it in your whole life. And you're right, Jill Barker Longstaff says, follow park rules and respect wildlife. That's exactly what it's all about. If everyone would just do that, then life would be gravy, right?
Yeah, if you've seen our bear safety video, like when I was putting together that bear video for our YouTube channel, I just started looking through some of our footage over the years that we've shot of bears. And so often it was pretty easy for me to find footage of people behaving kind of recklessly, because seeing a bear is actually, it's very exciting, and we all get that sort of childlike excitement. I mean, I still do, even after all these years. But some people let their excitement overwhelm their good judgment, and they put themselves in very dangerous situations. And, you know, if you watch our bear safety video, you'll see 2 or 3 people who were way too close to wild bears, you know, both grizzly bears and black bears.
And I think, honestly, one of the animals that injures the most people in the parks are the buffalo. Because people think of them, I think, as being like cows, and they're just not.
Tatanka.
Buffaloes can run up to, I think, 35 miles an hour, and they have huge, sharp horns that will, you know, pierce you and potentially kill you. So just beware of that and remember that when you're out there.
Yeah, one story I always remember is when I worked in the park back when I was in college, one summer, a tourist was gored in her left buttock, and she actually supposedly lost her left buttock. So don't lose your left buttock. Respect the bison.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Let us know where you're tuning in from, and if you have any questions, we would love to answer them if we can.
Yeah, I want to take a moment to show you where we are, because we're in the heart of Seaside, Florida. Pretty famous town. I'm going to flip the camera around for just a second, and we'll see my lovely bride.
Hi.
And this is the amphitheater area of Seaside. And on the other side of the amphitheater, you will see a row of silver Airstreams. We'll walk over there in just a minute. But just a great little community here in Florida on the Gulf Coast.
There's some great camping nearby. Grayton Beach State Park is about 2 miles west of here. They have a great campground that has direct beach access. So if you're looking for a campground near here, that would be the closest one. You know, there's a bike path that runs the entire length of the highway that Seaside is located on. It's called Highway 30A. And so you can rent bikes or bring your own bikes, and you can bike from one end to the other. Now it is 20 miles long, so you may not want to do the whole thing. But there's so many places to see around here, so many things to do. You know, of course, this is the height of the season, so it's the most busy that it will be right now. But, you know, spring and fall are great times to be here as well.
All right. Chris Klein says, tuning in from Kansas City, just got back from Colorado Springs last week. Where's the best camping close to Yellowstone with hookups? Well, if you want hookups, there's actually one place that provides full hookup in Yellowstone. It's called Fishing Bridge.
Yeah.
And it's near the lake area. And Fishing Bridge is frankly probably the least scenic of the campsites in Yellowstone. It's a bit of a parking lot, but you do have full hookups. It's a campground that they really built with larger RV rigs in mind, because a lot of the campgrounds in Yellowstone are actually kind of small. They were designed many decades ago, back when RV travel was a more modest affair, and so a lot of the campsites are a little bit smaller. And in fact, that's something to keep in mind even when you go RV shopping. If you're really wanting to do a lot of camping in national parks like Yellowstone, you need to take into account the size of your rig and what sizes and lengths are allowed in there. Because there are a couple of campgrounds in Yellowstone that we cannot camp in because our Airstream at 25 feet is too long. Specifically, we can't camp at Canyon.
Yeah, we're just too big for there. As far as other full hookup campsites, the town of West Yellowstone has several options. There are a few options north of the park. They're probably about 30 minutes north of the park. Yellowstone's Edge RV Park, I think is the name of one, and we've stayed there before. It's actually really nice. So, you know, let's see, a few people are
David Howe. My old college buddy, David Howe. David and I worked at Yellowstone the same summer, and we weren't in the same location, but we had a lot of good times there. You know, working in Yellowstone for the summer for many people is it's a thrill of a lifetime in a lot of ways. It's one of the best experiences you'll ever have in life, assuming you don't walk into a boiling cauldron of sulfuric acid.
That's right. We've got a few other people tuning in. Carrie from Chesapeake, Virginia. Gary Davis from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Kathy Stewart from Marysville, Washington. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. David Sizko, I'm probably totally butchering your name. You're from North Lake, Illinois. Adrian Alva in Louisiana. Somebody asked how Sean's foot is doing. I think that was Denise. Sean's foot is much better. He's probably at about 95% right now, I would say.
Live foot update. There's the foot.
Yep. He's got some fancy orthopedic shoes on, and he's getting around pretty well.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Thank you for asking. I'm getting to the point now where I'm ready to climb back on the bicycle, so to speak. We'll be back in our Airstream, traveling around out west soon. Jason
tuning in from Phoenix, Arizona. Kevin Thomas wants to know if we've gotten our Airstream back yet. We have not yet. We will be going to get it the 1st of July, so we'll be heading out to Santa Rosa, California to pick up the Airstream and Seymour, and we will start our adventure for the summer from there. Trevor tuning in from Ontario. Hi.
Look, Edith
from
South Korea.
Wow, that's awesome. Hi, Edith. What time is it there? I'd just be curious to know.
Hey, Joe.
Cindy from Texas. Hi, Joe. Hi, Brad from Plano, Texas. Thanks so much for tuning in, you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask us.
Kevin says foot is still attached. You know, one thing about the whole foot episode, in all the years we've been doing Airstream traveling, this is really the first time we'd ever experienced anything of this magnitude.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to really maybe use it as a teaching episode for all of us. Accidents are going to happen.
Yeah.
They'll happen to everyone. And you just have to be prepared to deal with them when they happen to you. I mean, for us, it was a bizarre situation. We had to leave our Airstream and truck 3,000 miles away and fly home immediately for surgery. So, you know, from that standpoint, it was kind of a worst case scenario. But
hi to Rich, who's planning a Yellowstone trip next summer. You're going to love it. Eric from Mississippi, hi. Edith says it is 9 a.m. on Saturday morning in Korea. So she is tuning in bright and early. Let's see, Rod says he's at an Airstream rally in Buena Vista, Colorado. Awesome. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. Jennifer from Amish Country, Ohio. Hi, Jennifer.
Kevin asked, has anyone been driving Seymour to keep him roadworthy? Seymour is in the very capable hands of Vinny Lamica, Vinny North Bay Airstream Repair. Vinny really rode to our rescue, quite literally, and has been keeping an eye on Seymour for us and our generator. So I have confidence that both have been in much more capable mechanical hands than normal. So they'll probably be running better than they ever have when we get back.
That's true. All right, any other questions? Let's see.
Piper from Birmingham
wants to know, what is a good age to visit Yellowstone? I would say at least maybe 2nd or 3rd grade, when kids are a little bit older, where they can do a lot of walking themselves, because you do a lot of walking in Yellowstone. And just the factor of kids being at an age where they can sort of understand what they're looking at and what they're seeing, and they do have the Junior Ranger programs at most national parks, so I think that's probably an age where kids are old enough to understand that and really enjoy it. So that would be my suggestion.
Yeah, and I
other
think
people may differ on that.
The point about kids raises another issue, again, with regard to the hot pots and everything. Yellowstone's a really dangerous place, and in reading that book, Death in Yellowstone, I've learned there have been some pretty tragic incidents involving kids over the years. Of all the places in the country to put your kid on a leash, Yellowstone is probably a great place.
That would
Seriously.
be a great place. If you get one of those little backpacks with a leash on the back, that would be perfect. Because if you have small toddlers, like I said, it wouldn't take but 5 or 6 steps for them to end up in a dangerous situation. So,
Yeah.
just remember that. Somebody wants to know if we're in Seaside, Florida.
Yes, Brad, we are
in Seaside. Let's see. Somebody wants to know if we've ever got caught camping around a wildfire or had to pack up early to get out. We have been near a wildfire once.
When I worked,
Glacier.
well, we've seen wildfires in the park too.
Yeah.
And back when I worked in the park back in the early '90s, there was a serious wildfire going on in the park.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I first worked there in '91. The big fire was in '88. I mean, that was an incredible fire. That you will still see the ramifications of that fire today. The fire that was near where I was working in the mid-'90s, it came within a mile or so of our cabins, and some of us may have hiked out to the edge of the fire and roasted marshmallows, which is really frowned upon.
An example of what not to do.
What not to do. This is the kind of
do not do
stupid
that.
thing that teenagers and people in their early 20s will do. So never do that,
Don't
kids.
do that.
I'm not saying I do.
But we have been near a wildfire. There was one in Glacier when we were there several years ago, and they had part of a road closed. We did not have to evacuate because of it, but it did alter the way you sort of got around one section of the park. Somebody else asked, let's see.
Mark Wilson asked about going to the Sun Road in Glacier. Yes, not only have we driven going to the Sun Road, there's a video on our YouTube channel shot in 4K with like the top 11 tips for driving going to the Sun Road. So I encourage you to check it out. It's on our YouTube channel.
The camera was mounted to the roof of our truck, so you get to basically ride going to the Sun Road with us. So if you've ever been curious about doing it, go check out that video, and
and it's in 4K,
exactly
so if you have a 4K monitor or a 4K TV set, watch it on that because it's really cool. Kevin Thomas says Yellowstone needs the warning sign. Not only will this kill you, it will hurt the whole time you're dying. Yes, and in fact, I've been reading this book, Death in Yellowstone, and there are some pretty shocking descriptions of what happens after you fall in a 200 degrees Fahrenheit hot pot. And it ain't pretty.
Yeah.
So I would really almost rather die quickly than die in that fashion.
Yeah.
So
Jim Deitman says, when are you guys going to do a TV show? Well, that is a good question. If you know somebody who wants to put us on TV, give us a call.
Yeah.
We would love to do it. Let's see.
When they create a good filter for this face to keep
somebody else,
to make me look better.
Let's see. Scott says, how's Seymour? Have you ever considered getting a new truck?
You know, we've gotten a lot of life out of Seymour. Seymour's like almost 10 years old. He's had a few minor issues over the years, you know, like the engine blowing up.
Yeah.
But other than that, we love Seymour, and actually the truck's performed surprisingly well when you think about all the demands we've placed on it over the years. So one of these days, I'm sure we will get a new truck. I just don't know exactly when.
Don't know if it'll be anytime soon.
I'm sort of the buy and hold type.
Yeah.
But we certainly held Seymour.
Let's see. Somebody else says,
Checking with Cody. Let's
see. Any other questions? Somebody says, don't miss the Beartooth Mountains. We actually tried to do the Beartooth Pass out of Yellowstone a few years ago. Rug ball.
Just got beamed with a ball.
And the Beartooth Pass was actually closed when we tried to cross it. So I think that is a drive that is beautiful, but it is very dependent on the weather, and it can change at any time. So maybe one day we'll make it. But we would not tow our trailer over it. We've heard that's not good. Kevin Thomas says, you have a good 300,000 miles ahead of you with Seymour. Well, Kevin, you are much more optimistic than I am, but I like the way you think.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions, you guys? I mean,
I want to show you. I'm going to show you Airstream Road here for a minute. fact, we might go for a little stroll here.
Yeah, we'll show you the front side of it.
Because, you know, Seaside is an area with a lot of just charm. I think that's what sets Seaside maybe apart from a lot of other beach communities. It's just pure charm. So, like, on this main drag, you've got a row of Airstreams, and they all just blend together so well. They make for such a warm, kind of welcoming, cozy environment. So, like, on the end, you've got your juice bar. Here you've got basically your hot dog stand, and we've got grilled cheese. Chuck Manley asks, when is your next trip? Actually, Chuck, we will be heading west in July, and we'll retrieve our Airstream and truck, and assuming the truck fires up, we will be towing our rig throughout the West.
Yeah, we'll be spending a good bit of time in Utah, in Colorado, and we probably will make it back to Yellowstone again this year.
Yeah, I think we will.
So, you know, stay tuned for that, because we'll definitely be tuning in with you guys from there. I'm not sure if we'll be able to do any live broadcasts from there, just because the reception there is so terrible. But let's see, how do you like Grayton Beach State Park? Grayton Beach State Park is beautiful. If you ever have a chance to camp there, I highly recommend it. It's in a great location. It's got great access to the beach. So, you know, and it's just in a location, I think, where you can do a lot of other things from there. So it's a nice beach vacation if you're looking for a campground that's close to the beach. Let's see, somebody says they're going to be, Edith says she's going to be heading to the Grand Tetons in August. Any roads I should avoid? Well, you definitely cannot drive going to the Sun Road while towing. I think the vehicle length limit on going to the Sun Road is 20 feet. So just be aware of that. You'll have to leave your camper in a campground. Let's see, Cindy Nelson Vaught says, love the Airstream cafes. Enjoy your time in Seaside. We will. Thank you very much. Carrie Grove says, be sure to hit Arches and Canyon. Yes, we definitely plan on it.
Yeah, that's kind of one of our really big plans this year, is to spend more time in the Utah National Parks. Because, you know, one thing I've learned is this, after years of doing this, that this country is so vast. The national park system is so broad and deep that you can spend a lifetime trying to explore this country properly. And so, like, Utah is one of those places that I know has some of the most beautiful national parks in the entire system, and we haven't really done it justice yet.
Yeah. Let's see, somebody wants to know if we've ever been to Port
Arkansas,
or is it Arkansas maybe? And no, we have not. If you have suggestions for there, tell us where it is, and we might just show up there one day. Let's see. Somebody says rent a houseboat on Lake Powell. That sounds like a cool idea. We have not ever really camped in the Lake Powell area, so that might be something to think about. Somebody says, gotta run. Catch you later. Bye,
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks for tuning in.
Safe travels to you. I run sus.
I ran sus. That's funny.
All right, I'm going to show you guys where we're headed now. Stepping out to the beach. This is one of the beach access points in Seaside, and you can see the natural beauty that brings people down here. And these communities have really done a good job of preserving, I think, a lot of the natural beauty by kind of restricting the height of buildings down here. And also, you can see they've kept these dunes intact. And so,
yeah, so
really
if
nice.
you ever want to know why you should visit the beaches here, it's because they are probably the best beaches in North America, in my opinion, just because the sand is powdery, sugary white. It's so soft. It's so nice to walk on. It really does feel like you're walking on powder. The water here is easy to swim in because it's a lot warmer than water in the Pacific or the Atlantic Ocean because it's the Gulf. So that appeals to me. I hate swimming in ice cold water. So and the water's gorgeous. It's that beautiful emerald, turquoise, blue-green color, and it's just really nice. So if you ever have thought about coming here.
Dean Sparks asked if we're in Seaside, Oregon. Actually, we're in the other Seaside, Florida.
Yeah, so
down
we're on
south.
the Gulf Coast of Florida. Seaside is about halfway between Panama City Beach and Destin, Florida, if you're looking for a reference. So we're all the way up in the Panhandle area.
Scott Ewing asked, what are the air and water temps now?
Air
Air is about 88 degrees. It's cooled off now that the sun is dipping down.
Yeah.
Water temp, I honestly have not been in the Gulf yet, but I've seen a lot of people swimming. So I think the water must be comfortable to swim.
Yeah.
Look. There we go. We're getting a nice little sunset back there. It's shooting back at us.
Yeah. We're doing a video.
Thank you, though. Appreciate it, man. So we got
right.
a pretty sunset coming back there. You can see it.
Yeah.
And why don't we walk down to the water? We'll just take a look at it.
Yeah, that sounds good. Again, if you guys have any questions, camping related or other, or destination questions, feel free to ask. Let's see, Lorene Palmer says she was here last year and the sunsets were beautiful. They are really beautiful. I will agree with you.
Melissa McCoy says Florida beaches are the best.
Yes.
And
Somebody else, let's see, Al Lipson says we're down in Tampa Bay and we can come up there and hang out. We would like that too. Come on up. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Rebecca.
I'm going to flip the camera around and show you the beach scene so like you can get an idea. And one reason we say these are the best beaches is just the sand is so nice. I mean, we've been to a lot of beaches in a lot of different parts, not only of the country, but the world, but these beaches are pretty tough to beat because it's just that soft, white, fine powder sand. We stroll down to the beach, to the seashore. So there you can get a look at the sunset. Pretty nice scene out here tonight. Cooling off a bit. Humidity has lessened. And water must be pretty warm because there have been plenty of people swimming in it all day long. Kristen's going to do a little water test for us.
Oh yeah, it's perfect. Perfect water. Doesn't get any better than that.
Gigi asked, how's the water there?
Yeah, oh. Gigi would be my mom. The water is great. It's nice and it's the perfect temperature. It's just enough to be a little refreshing, but it's not too cold that you don't want to get in. So, somebody says they're heading up to New Hampshire in a couple of weeks for their pop-up. They can't wait. Sandra, you're going to love it. New Hampshire's beautiful.
Stitch and Travel asks, how do we get people to wake up following the rules so we don't have issues like at Yellowstone? Well, that's a pretty tough question, and I've actually seen a lot of people posting on Facebook and other places and saying, oh, they need to put up walls and fences throughout Yellowstone to protect people from this dangerous environment. And I'm sorry, but I think that's kind of a terrible idea. When you start trying to develop a national park, you don't have a national park anymore, is the point. The point of a national park is that it is wild. Wilderness means danger. And, you know, I think trying to make Yellowstone safe is like trying to domesticate a great white shark. You can try, but you're not going to make a super volcano safe.
Yeah.
So I think the best you can do really is educate people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over the years, like some of the problems that have happened with regard to animals and with regard to the hot pots and the boiling waters have been due to, frankly, ignorance and people not really understanding the dangers.
Yeah.
So I think you got to do the best you can to make people understand
and,
the risk.
You know, sometimes it's hard because you don't want to try to police other people. But sometimes you might need to say, hey, you're not supposed to get so close, you know, you might get hurt. And just sort of frame it in that way instead of being like the park police, just say, hey, I don't want anything bad to happen to you. You might want to step away from the bison that you're approaching or what have you. So let's see. Somebody says, if you camped at Arches National Park, and would you recommend it? Sally, actually we have not camped at Arches, and that is on our list this year. The last time we tried to go to Arches, the park was closed due to a government shutdown. So we just moved on and didn't make it there, but it's on the list. So stay tuned is all I can say. We'll tell you everything we learn about it. Let's see. Barry Franklin says, get down there in Tampa, have 30 amp water and sewer. Well, that sounds good, Barry. We might just show up in your backyard. Somebody says, Stitch and Travel says, we try to discuss this on our blog and Facebook. We feel we are preaching to the choir. I think that's definitely true. I think a lot of the people that are really concerned about the issues in Yellowstone are the people that are following the rules. And I think a lot of times it's people that maybe don't spend a lot of time in national parks or parks in general, and so they don't really take it as seriously as they should. So I totally agree. You're sort of preaching to the choir with that.
Lorraine Palmer says Yellowstone should say all natural. That's what it's all about. I agree completely. I just think there's really nothing you can do to make a super volcano safe. I mean, if you start putting up fences throughout the park, then you totally ruin the aesthetics of it. And pretty soon, what's the point of going if you can't see what you came to see?
Yeah.
In fact, like I said, it's been well documented that pretty much 99% of the horrible accidents that have happened in Yellowstone have happened due to carelessness. So just don't be careless.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, millions of people visit Yellowstone every year without any kind of negative incident.
Yeah.
Whenever something bad happens, the media is going to pop it up front and center in your face. So, we don't need to put up fences at Yellowstone. We just need people to behave like responsible human beings,
So we just don't want a few bad apples to ruin it for the bunch. So, you guys know what to do, and we know that you do, and I think it's just a matter of maybe spreading the word to people that have never been before and reminding them that it can be dangerous. Haley Eckel joined us. Hi, Haley. Let's see. Barbara says, it seems to be that people have started to believe rules are made to be broken. I think you're right. There are a lot of people that think the rules don't necessarily apply to them, and unfortunately they will learn very quickly that Mother Nature, doesn't care.
Yeah, I understand the desire, especially of young people, to rebel a little bit and maybe, break a few rules here and there, but when the downside risk is being boiled alive in 200-degree Fahrenheit water, don't break the rule.
Yeah.
Find a different rule to break. There's just too much downside, not enough upside.
Let's see. Joe says he's tuned in from Florida. Hi, Joe. And he's heading to Hot Springs, Arkansas. Any recommendations? Unfortunately, I don't have any Hot Springs, Arkansas recommendations. We haven't really spent any time there. So if anybody can help Joe out, comment and let him know. Let's see. Somebody else says, people have little to no understanding of wildlife and the risks of large animals. You're right, Al, they don't.
Al Lipscomb said
a lot of people don't. So, again, I think that's a situation where you can say to people, hey, those buffaloes can charge at 35 miles an hour. You might want to step back, and say it from a place of concern rather than a place of, trying to be the police. And I think, people maybe will respond to that. Donnie Allen says, stay away from folks who yell, hey, y'all, watch this. You're right. If you see those people, run, because bad things are probably going to happen. Let's see. Somebody wants to know if we visited the natural springs in Ocala. And we have not. Most of our time that we've spent in Florida has been along the Panhandle and then, of course, down in the Keys. So, somebody wants to know, do you use any super coolers like Yeti or Pelican coolers?
Kevin Thomas asked that.
Kevin asked that.
Actually, we don't have the coolers, but I do have some of the Yeti cups, and they're really good products. I mean, they're really well done.
They definitely keep your ice, icy for longer than any other cup I've ever used. So I would assume that the coolers are about the same. Scott Bennett says, just jumping in where you got that, we are currently in Seaside, Florida, on the Florida Panhandle. Michael Fetter says, thanks for doing this, much appreciated. Thanks for tuning in, Michael. We appreciate you. Jason Miranda says, any more Airstream renovation upgrade videos to come? Pros and cons of water systems.
Actually, one upgrade we're going to be doing in July concerns the lighting. We're going to add some LED lighting. We've already added some LEDs to our Airstream, but we're going to kind of keep going and push further. And so, we'll probably be doing an upgrade video about that.
Yeah, so you'll see that later this summer.
Yeah, LED lighting. If you don't have it on your rig, you really probably should, because it burns a lot less electricity, it burns a lot cooler. It's just great for when you're boondocking, if you're running off batteries or off a generator, whatever.
Yeah.
And so we really have been pleased overall with our LED lights, so we're going to keep on upgrading that.
Christine has tuned in from Lake Cather. I'm not sure where that is. Scott Bennett says he's in Niceville. Oh yeah, you're just right across the road from us. And Scott Dyer wants to know how the 3,000 watt Briggs and Stratton generator is doing. It's doing good.
Yeah, I'm overall really impressed with the Briggs and Stratton unit. Now, unfortunately, because as you may know, I broke my foot last year, our Airstream is out west and the new generator is down south. So I'm looking forward to the day when these two meet.
Yes.
So we've put the generator through its paces, hooking it up to a friend's RV, running the air conditioner, and trying it in a lot of different situations. We tried it with her hair dryer, which is brutal.
That's the real test.
That's the real acid test. But overall, I'm impressed with the unit. I think it's a good buy. It seems like a good buy to me.
Oh look, there goes a helicopter flying
yeah.
overhead. I see you, Jason McCoy.
Chopping.
Never know what you're going to see flying along the beach in Seaside, Florida.
Hi, Jason McCoy. We see you. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Angela Kearns Gervais says, where are you headed to next? Well, our Airstream is in California, so that will be first on the agenda. We'll go there early July and pick up the Airstream in our truck, and we'll start our adventure out west. So that's kind of exciting.
Paul Jolson says, if you need a thrill, take the bus to the end of the road in Denali. Hope you'll post more of your Alaska trip. Paul, you couldn't have asked a more timely question.
That's right.
Because someone has been hard at work culling through a ridiculous amount of footage from Alaska and putting together a series of videos. So we're going to have a really cool video series starting quite possibly next Thursday. The video is kind of it's in the chute, ready to launch.
Yes.
So, and it's a good video. I mean, and we're going to be doing more about Alaska because, I mean, for us, taking our Airstream to Alaska was really the greatest single trip that we've ever done, I think, with our Airstream, and it was really well documented, and we're going to start getting that footage out to you guys. So if you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, be sure you're subscribed, because big video launches next week, and there will be more videos to follow about Alaska.
Let's see, Brad West is asking about Airstream axle maintenance. I hear stories about repacking the bearings every 3,000 miles on a single axle Bambi. Is your rig easier to maintain? Well, we do have a double axle unit, and we've heard about every 10,000 miles for our unit. So I'm not sure about the single axle. I would call your Airstream maintenance person, whoever that may be, or call Vinny Lamica at Vinny's North Bay Airstream Repair. He can tell you.
And I'll tell you a funny story. We were in Yellowstone one time, and a fellow Airstreamer was there, and he had been pulling his Airstream for many, many thousands of miles without repacking the bearings. And while he was in the parking lot of Old Faithful, one of his wheels literally fell off the trailer. So that will happen. So like the whole packing the wheel bearings is actually kind of important. You've got to do that. Denise Hunt says, we just watched your Don't Be an Idiot Bear Aware video before we went to Yellowstone last week. We think it saved our lives. Thank you very much for saying that.
We're glad it saved your life, Denise. I think that's the thing about bears is that, you know, you think they're kind of slow, lumbering, you know, no big deal, but really they're really fast. They kind of pop up in places that you least expect them to, and they can be very aggressive. And so take your bear spray with you everywhere you go, because making noise a lot of times isn't enough. Sometimes those bears in national parks are so accustomed to, so many people being around that they're sort of immune to being around people. It doesn't really bother them. So bear spray is a must.
So, beautiful sunset here. Get a feel for the scene. This time of day, in our opinion, this is the best time of day to be on the beach. There's a lot of people that come out crack of dawn and they stay out here all day long, baking hot sun. Not me. I want to be out here this time of day because it's a lot cooler. It's just really pleasant, not to mention beautiful. So.
Let's see. It says, hello from Ozark, Missouri. Hello, Alan. Thanks for joining us. Somebody says we may have to ship our generators to Vinny. You're right. We might have to do that. Let's see. Jay Stewart says, did you get an external fuel tank for Seymour yet? We have not.
We did not do that, but in the upcoming Alaska video, at one point I mentioned that because we were in the Yukon Territory a few years ago, and we actually met a guy who had an external fuel tank for his truck, and this was in the days of really sky-high gas and diesel prices. And so he actually fueled up in the United States, and his external fuel tank was large enough that he could drive across Canada to Alaska without having to stop in British Columbia and the Yukon Territory to get fuel. And I mean, probably the highest price we've ever paid for fuel was in the Yukon Territory on our way to Alaska. Because, if you're at the only fuel station in 100 miles, you're buying fuel no matter what the price.
Yeah, I think it was around $8 a gallon.
Yeah, it was $8 a gallon at least.
So it was pretty steep. Somebody wants to know about the Bay Area. With regards to the Bay Area, we've always camped sort of north of the Bay Area. Napa Valley has a really nice campground. I think it's the fairgrounds, Napa Valley Fairgrounds. So that's a nice campground. We've also stayed at the Petaluma KOA, so that's another good option if you're looking for a place that's somewhat close to San Francisco. I think there is one that is at the Candlestick Stadium, but I've heard it's kind of in a sketchy area and it's basically just a parking lot, so I don't know if that appeals to you or not, but we've never stayed there. Somebody wants to know how big our Airstream is. What do we pull it with? We have a 25-foot classic Airstream, and we tow it with a Ford F-250. Ed Brambies says, thanks for sharing your adventures and go to the Donut Hole. I agree with you, Ed. The Donut Hole is a great place to visit if you're here along the Gulf Coast of Florida.
Gary Groff asked, do they allow large trucks with 4 wheels and back on Going to Sun Road? I think the length is 19 feet for trucks on Going to the Sun Road. There's also a height restriction. So what I recommend you do is go to our YouTube channel and watch the video in 4K with tips about going to the Sun Road, because you'll actually see the road, for one thing.
Yeah.
The other thing is I've got some content in the video with those specific measurements.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a width restriction too, because the road is very narrow, but you might just have to check the National Park Service website for width, because I'm not sure about that. Lorraine Palmer says she was in Alaska twice, and she loved it there. I agree. It is a beautiful, beautiful state, and if you ever get the opportunity to go, Alaska is gorgeous. Angela Gervais says, sweet, we are from south of Tampa, doing a westerly tour now until November. Hope to see you out. Yeah, let us know if you're going to be out and about. We'll definitely meet up with you guys. Ozzy Quesada says, thank you guys. We just bought our travel trailer about 2 months ago. Found you on YouTube. And that we've been a good resource. Let's see what else.
Someone completely new to camping. You guys are awesome in your videos. Great resource for rookies. Thank you very much. Something that dawned on me a few years ago after fiddling around making videos, I really want for us to use our YouTube channel to impart what we've learned to you guys to help you get out there and pursue your own adventures. Because Long Honeymoon really shouldn't be about us. It should be about all of us going out, kind of pursuing our own adventures. And, if we can use our channel as a platform to kind of share what we have learned, quite often the hard way. We didn't know all these things when we bought our Airstream.
No. In fact, a lot of the things that we tell you guys not to do, it's because we did them first. and we dealt with the consequences.
Yeah, one
we
video.
are trying to save you from the pain that we have experienced ourselves.
One video I'll be working on is maybe a list of my boneheaded mistakes and various boneheaded mistakes we've made over the years, because buying an RV or an Airstream and towing it, it's not something many of us we don't all grow up doing that, and there's just a lot to learn. It's a pretty steep learning curve.
You know, over time, things change, and so the way it was done 20 or 30 years ago may not be the way it's still done, and so there's a learning curve there as well. So, just something to think about. We've got some other people tuning in.
Michael Fetter says, the best use of the internet I've seen in many years. Yes, better than cat videos. Thank you, Michael. It's very kind of you.
Let's see. Sonia Diaz says, when it comes to communication when parking your rig, what do you suggest? What brand walkie-talkies do you recommend? Well, you're smart, because we do recommend walkie-talkies, because yelling back and forth doesn't work. Hand signals don't work. Walkie-talkies are where it's at. I think just any basic walkie-talkie. It doesn't have to be anything fancy.
If you look on any of our YouTube videos, you'll find a list of links to recommended products, and we have a link to walkie-talkies in there.
Yeah.
I mean, the set we have is an older set. I imagine the newer sets are really even better than what we have. But walkie-talkies are really critical for RV camping, especially if you plan on taking it anywhere that's, you know, kind of interesting in nature, because you're not going to have often a lot of cell phone towers in remote wilderness. And, you know, we ran into that certainly on our way to Alaska and back. We certainly experience it out west in places like Grand Teton National Park and Yellowstone, because, you know, quite often
there's just no cell service.
There's no cell service, and you know, you need to be able to communicate with your partner, especially if you're backing up your rig, or even if you're out on a hike, or you know, in Canada we used it when we were in even in stores, like in grocery stores,
to keep track of each other, because our phones didn't work. So it was like if I needed to get in touch with him, I just pulled out the walkie-talkie. You might get a few strange looks, but it works. Somebody, let's see, Paul wants to know, what mileage do you get with Seymour and your trailer?
You know, when we first got Seymour is a 6.0 liter Ford F-250 diesel truck.
2007 model.
2007.
So it's getting a little old.
When we first got the truck, we were getting like 11.8 miles per gallon. I mean, that figure is kind of stuck in my head. 11.8 miles per gallon, towing the Airstream. And then over the years, the mileage started to get worse and worse, frankly. It got down to about 11, 10, 9. You know, it's kind of like a New Year's Eve countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, my Lord.
Terrible.
And then last year, we discovered a product called Arch Oil, which I've done a video about Arch Oil on YouTube. Go watch the video. Arch Oil really helped revitalize the engine. I was kind of shocked, because I've probably spent a lot of money over the years buying a lot of fuel additives that haven't amounted to much. But Arch Oil actually seems to be the real deal. It definitely improved the performance of our truck and improved the gas mileage.
Brad West wants to know, is Walmart still an option like it used to be? Any issues with them? We have not had any problems with Walmart, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3, you know, locations where it is the local ordinance where they don't allow any overnight parking. So for the most part, Walmart has always been very welcoming to us. So.
Yeah, we might actually do a standalone chat about Walmart, because again, if you look on YouTube, we've got a video about parking at Walmart, and frankly, we've done it everywhere, pretty much from Florida up to Alaska. And we've overall had very positive experiences, and I really hope that never changes. In other words, I hope that people who go to Walmart are respectful of Walmart and of the opportunity it provides. Because if you're people who live a little bit of a strange schedule like we are, sometimes you're pulling up into a town at 7:30 or 8 at night. And it's not that we don't enjoy camping at other types of campgrounds. Of course we do, and we often do that. But there are times when we're arriving in town late, and it just makes sense to stop and overnight park at some place like a Walmart.
Yeah,
so.
If we're just passing through, that is usually our go-to, just so we can come in late and leave when we want to.
Ed asked, do you ever camp in the Northeast? We have, and we've got some videos on YouTube about that. Like a few years ago, we took our Airstream basically up the eastern seaboard
We were in Boston, we were in Philadelphia, we were just outside Manhattan and New Jersey, we were in Maine. So we've got a lot of videos on that, so if you look back to some of our older videos, you'll see that.
So we went through Maine, and we went out of Maine into Quebec, and then cut over.
Away we Winnebago says, how many bison calves can you fit in your Airstream? That is a good question.
I think probably 7 or 8. If you really cram them in there.
If you just smush them in there.
And actually, we could fit probably 2 adult bison in the bed of our pickup truck.
Yeah.
If we don't have our bikes with us.
If they don't kill us first, right? Mike Fusco says, love your videos, always make me smile. Hugs. Thank you, Mike. That's so nice. We appreciate that. Hugs back to you. Scott Bennett says, we started using walkie-talkies after your video. Well, hopefully they were very helpful to you. Let's see. Somebody says, how do you find all your campsites? Do you use an RV app? We just do a lot of research online. You know, it's not anything specific. I sort of read reviews in different places. You know, if I have a really specific area I'm wanting to stay, a lot of times I will just, you know, try to find the closest campground to that location and then read reviews from there. Sometimes it's, you know, tips that we've gotten from other campers. So that's usually what we do. Yeah,
there's a good site called RVParkReviews.com that you can get some pretty unfiltered consumer reviews, and it's been pretty accurate for us over the years.
I also read the Good Sam Park reviews. They're pretty good about how they rate campgrounds, and you'll get a pretty good idea of what you're getting into before you get there.
We usually get that Good Sam book, the trailer, what's it called, Trailer Life's Guide or something like that, and it's got a bunch of campground reviews.
Let's see. Somebody wants to know if there are more generators reviews coming. Well, we don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to try to maybe get my hands on a Generac and put it through its paces. So maybe later this summer, as we get out there on the road, we will get some more generator reviews. Denise says you could squeeze some Yellowstone mice in between the bison.
Yeah, we had plenty of mice. Paul Julstrom says, how many hours a day do you spend driving when we're traveling? We try not to drive more than 5 hours in a day. Just because we've found that when we spend more time than that on the road towing, bad things tend to happen. Towing is different than just driving your car in our experience. It takes a little more focus, it's a little more intense, and so we just usually try to stick to around 5 hours. And I mean, we know people who do 10 hours. I think it's just whatever works for you, but we feel like 5 hours is a safe time frame for us, and that's usually what we try to stick with.
Yeah, we kind of meander when we travel with our Airstream. I mean, if you have the luxury of time, which I realize is a huge if, but if you have that luxury, you know, I think it's really wise to just take a slow, steady pace, and you'll enjoy your travel so much more, you know, I personally think, and you'll take fewer risks because you won't make mistakes from being too tired.
All right, we're going to take a few more questions before we wrap up tonight. Let's see, Greg Samples says, what beach are you at now? We are in Seaside, Florida. Kevin Thomas says, do you have any additional means of water filtration other than the inline hose filter? Yes, we do. We have an external water filter that we put on right at the point where we connect to our camper. So we've actually got that. If you check our Amazon store on our website, you will see the specific filter that we use.
We don't have one of those fancy under-counter filters just yet. We thought about putting one of those in, but frankly, the system has worked pretty well for us over the years. We filter the water outside before it goes into our tank, and we filter it a second time when it goes into the drinking water pitcher, so at least it's double filtered.
Kim Olslin wants to know, have you eliminated the mice? We finally did, but part of the way we eliminated it was we left the area where we were getting them. So you can watch the mouse video to learn more about that.
Yeah, we're going to take additional mouse prevention steps this year. I'm really declaring war on the mice. We're going to put copper wiring, I think, in any gaps underneath, and maybe spray some of that filler stuff in the gaps. We really couldn't find where they were getting in. That was the root problem with the mice. If you haven't seen our mouse video, you need to go to YouTube and watch it.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Let's see. Ed wants to know if we've explored the world of amateur radio communications and RVing. We have not. I'm sure there's a big market for that out there, but Sean's more of a photo video guy.
Mike wants to know why I'm not wearing a bikini. Well, that's a good question. I'm not in my bikini bod just yet. Another week or two of working out and I'll be ready to go. Sorry, Mike.
Laura Smith says, I can't wait to hit the road. Well, yeah, get out there, Laura. We're about to join you. We've got a couple more weeks before we hit the road, and hopefully we will see some of you out there while we're out and about. If you ever see us, please come say hello. We would love to meet you in person. It would be great to put faces with names.
It's my old friend from high school, Craig Laney, says, hello, old friend. Great to see you guys. Great to see you too, Craig. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah.
Well, we need to have a little reunion soon. The old crew needs to get back together.
All right. Stephen Smith wants to know where we're going this summer. We are going to be out west. We pick up our Airstream in California, and then we'll be heading through Utah, Colorado, and we'll probably spend some time in Montana and Wyoming. So that is where we will be most of the summer. Let's see. Trust me, Mike, nobody wants to see me in a bikini either. Sorry. All right. Well, we've really appreciated you guys tuning in tonight. Let us know if you want us to do any more of these. And if you have any specific topics you'd like for us to cover in a future episode. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks much, guys, for tuning in. I know some people have asked about the aspect ratio and the fact that it's square. Just FYI, we can't change that.
It's a Facebook thing.
Somebody needs to talk to Zuckerberg and tell him to get on that. I'm going to give you one more glance at the sunset. So the sun just dips below the horizon, so that's kind of a last glimpse of the sun here in Seaside, Florida.
Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks Phil, Matthew, Angela, and Chris. Roll Tide, Chris.
So if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you would be so inclined, like our Facebook page, head over to our YouTube channel and subscribe over there. It really does help us to grow our subscribers. Just helps us do this more. Somebody says, really enjoyed looking at the live stream. Please live more. We love your videos. Thank you so much. It's always nice to get fun, complimentary feedback. We enjoy doing it, and we hope you enjoy it as well.
Yeah, Raymond says, do more and notify me. I just found you. We will do more, and we will try to do a better job notifying everybody beforehand. We're just kind of getting up to speed with some of this Facebook Live stuff. So this has been a really good experiment, and we hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have.
Yeah. Thanks so much for tuning in. We hope you guys have... Oh, hey, Matt Christopher.
Hey, Matt.
Good to see you.
Matt Christopher's been following our YouTube channel since, like...
the first summer
like
we started
2007.
doing it. So
I think he's, like, the first
I feel
guy.
like I know Matt Christopher, even though I don't, but he's my friend anyway.
Yeah. I think Matt was, like, the first guy to ever watch one of our YouTube videos.
That's
so
right.
It's always great to see you, Matt.
Rita Proctor says, hi from Michigan. All right. Have fun on your camping trip. Don, and I'm not even going to try your last name, says hi. Hi, Don. All right, so
Matt says
again.
great send. I agree. We're just friends who haven't met in person yet. But
that's right.
We've met a lot of great people online, doing this stuff over the years, and we thoroughly enjoy it and thoroughly appreciate the opportunity to just to get to know you guys.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Hi, Bobby. Thanks for joining us.
Kevin
you guys
says,
have a... go ahead.
Oh, Kevin says try Periscope soon. We'll work our way up to Periscope. We're still getting this Facebook thing figured out.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks again for tuning in tonight, you guys. We hope you have a great weekend. We hope that you are out there enjoying life wherever you may be, in a campground, in a park, in your backyard, in a tent. It doesn't matter. Just get out there and see this amazing country that we have and enjoy it with the ones you love.
All right. Lolo ho.
Lolo.
If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you disliked it, give it a thumbs down. Feel free to leave a comment. And of course, don't forget to subscribe.